Hey, what's up? Welcome to Girl Chat Sports. We are on episode 23, and my name is Melissa Ferris. Of course, you know me by now. We are, I say we because I'm not by myself this week. Yay! With me today, I got Stephanie Washington, who will be joining us as much as possible, and definitely she's been a great help with contributing to Girl Chat Sports. Say hello, Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
So before we get into Stephanie and how, basically who she is and about her sports knowledge and passions, a couple just housekeeping tips real quick. We just want to say shout out to the In the Zone network and the guys in the Zone, Palmer Alexander and Arlington Lane. I know you think I said your name wrong before, but I didn't. So anyway, shout out to you guys. We got a special promotional commercial at Midway coming through the GCS podcast today. For the show today, we were talking a lot of NFL. It is week 2 we just ended. We also have some fantasy information, fantasy footballers out there. And injuries. Injuries were a huge part in week 2 as well as earlier this season. And we'll kind of touch about a little bit into like some college football, maybe some baseball. We definitely have Arms of the NFL coming up as well. So to get right into it, Stephanie, please introduce yourself. Tell us maybe about you, what got you into sports, what made you, I guess, enjoy sports. What's your favorite sport, maybe? And we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie. I've probably been a sports fan for not too long, actually, maybe about 8 or 9 years or so. I used to watch the Pistons with my best friend that's from Flint, Michigan, and that's sort of how it got me interested in sports. I am a Lakers fan, I am a Cowboys fan, and I'm a Dodgers fan. So, West Coast.
Hey, and so all of you that know the show already is that probably 2 of my 5 most hated teams Stephanie likes. So we're going to have great conversations throughout the season. I'm already impressed with some of her players actually on the Dallas team. I still can't stand the Lakers. But anyway, so you watched the Bad Boy. Are we watching like Bad Boy Pistons or like after Bad Boy Pistons? Like, are you Isaiah Thomas or were you more like what was it? Ben Wallace?
Definitely after Ben Wallace, because it's only been like maybe 8 or so years I've been watching. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
The Pistons. Wow. Okay, but now you're a Lakers fan. Were you a Kobe fan?
Always.
Oh.
Always. Kobe.
Womp, 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 womp. Kobe fan, Dallas fan. So how are you feeling about your team right now?
I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I mean, Dak's been doing pretty decent for us. I definitely am excited for Tony to be back and injury-free, hopefully. But we're not doing too bad. We've got a fairly decent young couple rookies, so we'll see how that goes.
I think that's very good points. Very good points. So real quick on like your history. So one of the things I brought up in our first podcast, going back to audio, was a segment that I had listened to on a podcast in regards to how men kind of relate to their women, their spouse, their girlfriend when it comes to sports. And this one guy I heard on ESPN was like, I just want to thank my wife's father for introducing her to sports, because if it wasn't for him, she'd probably hate me, and she'd probably hate all the time that I spent from the TV. And I was thinking, well, it doesn't have to be a guy necessarily, like your father or someone in your life that brings you into sports. It could be anything. And I just thought it was funny that the whole time we're talking, I'm listening to this guy, all he can say is that I'm just glad that she doesn't kick me out of the house because I'm watching. I don't know. Your take on women in sports and being passionate about a sport, how do you feel guys interact with you differently or are different around you when it comes to sports?
Do you know what's funny is that, one, you don't really get the respect that you deserve being a women's sports fan. They always think that you don't know what you're talking about. So that, I think, is pretty sad that we don't get the respect that we deserve. On the same token, I feel like I like sports a lot more than any guys that I've ever been around or dated or whatever. I think it's kind of intimidating to them that they know that I know so much about sports. So it's been kind of a strange thing to be a woman sports fan and to not really be around guys that really like sports a whole lot.
Have you ever found that maybe dating a guy who maybe wasn't into sports, or maybe was into sports but kind of was maybe standoffish by the way that you about the amount of knowledge you had in regards to sports. I personally have had this where they were good with you and things were fine, like, oh my gosh, like sports, cool. But when they realize how much you're into it, that yeah, you have a fantasy team, yeah, you're making your changes on your roster. I mean, at that point, they're kind of like, wait a minute, yeah, maybe you should just go cook. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely totally happened. I think that it almost is like intimidating to guys that don't really watch sports as much as me. I've even had a guy tell me, why don't you pick up a hobby like shopping with your girlfriends or something? Because every Sunday I wanted to watch football, and sure, we can go to the movies or something like that, but after the game.
Right. And that's the thing is I'm finding myself, all my plans, I think we've seen all the memes recently in regards to football and women liking football, but when it comes to football season and Sundays, I don't want to make any plans. I was just thinking about how my mom is coming out here this weekend. I was like, oh, I want to go take her on the stand-up paddleboarding. I have a Groupon for it. And then I was like, oh, Saturday, nope, can't do Sunday football. There's not going to be football on Lake Las Vegas. So
yeah, I'm already feeling it myself. You know, end of summer, people wanted to go to the pool on Sunday, and no, football all day. I'll see you in February.
Right. Well, the good thing is I did realize that some of the pools have decent Wi-Fi, and I have taken my iPad to the pool, used Wi-Fi, used my NFL mobile pass, or thanks, Young. And I've also used my DirecTV Sunny ticket if need be. And I've also used my friend's Infinity Pass too. Shout out to Shai. But those are things that have helped me watch football. But the thing is, I guess the point being is that I'm not going to not watch football. I might still get some sun in the pool, but I am watching football.
Making it happen. Multitasking.
Right. So we'll just get into it. So NFL. I mean, this is coming up on week 3. We've gone through 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, we've had like crazy. Let's talk about the quarterback situation right now. We've got at least, I think it's 4 teams right now that are playing rookie quarterbacks, or will be come week 3. I know as far as we've got your guy Dak Prescott playing for Dallas, who I actually saw 3 of these guys in Senior Bowl last year in Mobile, Alabama, back in I think it was February. We watched Senior Bowl. So Dak Prescott's playing for Dallas. We've got Carson Wentz playing for Philly, who's been doing amazing, and as well we have Jacoby Brissett that'll be playing for the Patriots this weekend because Garofalo most likely is not going. We've got Cody Kessler for the Browns. The other thing that I found interesting too is the whole Jared Goff situation. We'll get into that later. So for right now, we've got your guy Dak. Tell us how are you? I mean, we all know Dak's kind of come into this situation. We all know Tony Romo can't stand on 2 feet to save his life right now, and hasn't been able to for the last couple of seasons, it seems like. But Dak came in, and he's got a team, and he's doing pretty good for a rookie.
Yeah, man, he's thrown more passes without an interception in his first 2 games than any other player in NFL history. So he's played already 139 snaps, completing 62.7% of his passes for 519 yards with no interceptions. Of course, he hasn't gotten any touchdowns yet.
Side note, right? But that's a rookie record for him. I mean, the fact that he hasn't had any touchdowns is a little sad. But hey, I can't really speak right now because my Seahawks, the Mariners outscored them last weekend. So that's tough right there in itself. So we talked about Dak. What about Carson Wentz? Here's what I found about Carson. I actually got to watch an interview with him. We saw him close up in person and got to meet him in Senior Bowl. One thing that was funny about Carson Wentz is that when I read a story up on him, he was like 125 pounds in high school as a freshman. He never even played, I don't think, for the varsity team, or he didn't play football until sometime in high school. What did it say?
I think 30 games or something that he played in high school.
Right. Oh, he wasn't a starting quarterback until his senior year in high school. He wasn't even recruited. Please don't mind the dogs in the background because they're crazy. So, anywho, that's Sugar and Kita. They were saying hi. They love sports as well, just not all the time. And they're playing tag football right now, as you can tell.
So they're saying that Carson Wentz is the number 1 quarterback in the league right now. It's crazy. It's crazy.
The league, I don't know if I'm feeling. I think Philadelphia fans probably feel that way. They've had such crappy quarterbacks and crappy teams for the last couple of years. I can see where they're kind of on a high horse at the moment. I don't know about best in the league. Like, I mean, are we saying that? Well, I guess Tom's on there, but we're saying that Ben Roethlisberger isn't doing well. Are we saying that? Why am I blank? Drew Brees isn't. Well, he really hasn't been doing well. I mean, it's not great. I mean, even like a David Carr, or a Carr, he's had some great games, but of course the Raiders have no defense, so that's been an issue as well. I don't know if I would say Carson Wentz as the best football quarterback in the NFL at the moment.
It says, here's the stats. He owns a 90.8 overall grade this season. That puts him ahead of Andrew Luck at 87.9, Eli Manning at 87.3, and even Bradford at 87.2.
Jeez, that's incredible. And he doesn't really have the targets that some of these guys have. I mean, there's some good guys on Philly, but we're not talking about the Odell Beckhams or the Antonio Browns that he's throwing to. So, I mean, I give him credit. Definitely give the little redhead credit.
And he's only been on the team for a couple of weeks.
Right? And he came from North Dakota, guys. He was not playing at Alabama or LSU or the USC or no big name. He was playing for North Dakota. And look at this kid. So beyond Carson Wentz, we also have the Patriots have had a couple issues. Obviously, Tom Brady didn't get to play for the first 4 games, his suspension. But we had Garofalo in. He recently just got injured. He's not going to be probably making it for Sunday's game. So then you've got Jacoby Brissett from. I forgot where he was in LSU or not. I'm not sure. Anyways, Jacoby's going to be coming in. He's got a lot of energy, but again, working with the Patriots. I mean, of course, with Belichick, you can basically win anything, it seems like, because he cheats. But you've got still a lot of power. Gronkowski's supposed to come back, so he might have a couple targets there. But who knows how this young kid's going to be interacting with the rest of the team. What I found that was really funny is that their backup quarterback this weekend is going to be Julian Edelman.
Yeah, so apparently he threw for them like last year and did a really nice pass. So maybe it's not as strange as we think it sounds.
I guess it's probably not. It's just, it sounds funny, and I'm interested. I was listening to a podcast about fantasy football earlier, and I thought it was so funny how he basically, I mean, he can start as a receiver, but really if he comes in as quarterback, talk about points that he could get. That's going to be pretty amazing.
Whoever picked him up.
I know. And then Cody Kessler for the Browns. The Browns. Oh my goodness. The Cleveland Browns have had their issues with quarterbacks. So this Sunday coming up is going to be the 5th game that they've had 5 starters. And Cody Kessler is going to be number 5. He's actually the quarterback for USC. So prior to him, we had Josh McCown. He got injured last weekend. Before him, obviously RG3, who just got picked up by the Browns this year, was injured after week 1. I don't even think he made it for a full quarter or 2. Then there was Austin Davis. We're going back to the end of last season's regular season. Austin Davis, and then of course our guy Johnny Manziel. 5 quarterbacks in 5 games. What's really crazy was that there was since 1999 25. Well, he would be the 26th. Yep. So 26 different quarterbacks. Can you? I mean, I can't even. And you wonder why the team is so shitty.
I feel sorry for the people of Cleveland. I think that they are really proud right now that they've got a good basketball team because they've suffered a lot in sports in history.
They're really riding high. I think they have to take that Cleveland win, the Cavaliers win, and just hold on to that for like 53 more years. Because the thing is, these Browns, it's almost sad to watch. I don't even know where to begin. You can't even. We are talking 25 quarterbacks in 18 years. So when I actually saw an article that had ranked all 25 of these quarterbacks over the last 18 years, I would say there's about 8 that I never knew played for Cleveland, or B, didn't even know existed. I never heard of some of these names before. And you know how you get those memes or the quizzes on Facebook, like, oh, take this quiz and figure out if you're like 100%. I would dare anyone out there to take a quiz to name all 25 quarterbacks. I don't think you can do it. If you can do it, then come to Vegas and I'm buying you dinner. So, anyways, that's we're gonna cut to a little commercial break real quick from End the Zone and their road trip to the Tennessee Titans game. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about fantasy football, some injuries, and of course, the arms of the NFL.
Get on board for the NFL Road Trip, presented by In the Zone Show, Take a Trip Travel, and Collective Catering. It's the Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans in an AFC South rival game from Nissan Stadium in Nashville. You'll get to check out players like Marcus Mariota, Andrew Luck, Robert Mathis, and DeMarco Murray. This trip includes a round-trip bus ticket, a one-night hotel stay, a private tailgate party with food, surprises, and giveaways, and of course, a ticket to the game. We depart Saturday, October 22nd, and return after the game on Sunday, October 23rd. Seats are filling up, so contact Malatha Witherspoon today to book your seat at 314-369-7025 or taketriptravel@gmail.com. Get on board for the NFL Road Trip presented by In the Zone Show, Take a Trip Travel, and Collective Catering.
All right, and welcome back. Shout out again to the guys at In the Zone Network who made that road trip possible. Again, it's the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts in Nashville, Tennessee, October 22nd and 23rd. Game is Sunday, October 23rd. So if you're in the area, want to go on a fun road trip with some fun people, make sure to check that out. So we're back, and I wanted to get into a couple things. There was a little note that I had read online a couple days ago about the Chargers moving to LA possibly. So we already know the Raiders are back in LA. I actually went out there this past weekend, saw the Seahawks lose
terribly
to the Raiders. First of all, neither team scored a touchdown, which is shitty to begin with. But the Seahawks scored 3 points.
And you guys had to sit in the sweltering heat.
When I tell you, so here's Dad. I'm a Pac-12er. I'm a Pac-10er by nature. I'm an alumni for the Huskies. I've always gone against USC. So being at the Coliseum was kind of like, historic. Coliseum's been around for a while. A lot of great players have come out of there. It's a huge legacy at USC for the Trojans. So being there was very cool. However, it's so old, and to put as many people that want to come to an NFL team in the same arena for college football just did not work. So not only is there zero shade. So, usually there's an awning of some sort in most stadiums. There's even a retractable roof where it's a dome. This Coliseum has nothing. There's not even a hair of shade anywhere. So, of course, this last weekend happened to be like the hottest day in LA history in this time of the month. It was like 90 plus degrees in the sun. And I'm talking like this was an evening game. This was like a 1 o'clock game. So we were sitting in the sun thinking, oh, well, there'll be there was no shade at all. Paramedics were coming. People were getting overheated. So, it was great to be there. However, I don't know if I could ever go to another game at USC. Beyond the heat, when I tell you that concession stands are all like on like a flea market style around the outside of the Coliseum itself. If you're going up to like the second floor, which is where most seats will be, you're walking around like about a 10-foot. I would say it's more like about 15 feet of space. 50 feet of space, and there's so many people there. We're trying to push yourselves around people through crowds just to get anywhere. But the fun thing that was happened beforehand was...
Speaking of shade, I saw you met Stephen A. Smith.
I did meet Stephen A. We got one of my girlfriends hooked us up with some entry into like the ESPN tailgate for ESPN LA. As soon as I walk in and we're giving our name to get in this party, or I guess this tailgate, I guess you could call it, who's sitting right there? It's Stephen A. I'm like, whoa, Stephen A. Let me get a picture, because of course, it's the first thing I think of, selfie time. But luckily, I had friends with me, so I had them just take the picture for me. And of course, I asked him who's going to win. He said Seahawks, which I'm making this up because in case he's listening to this ever again, he didn't say that. But I wish he would have. He's actually a lot. I can't say he was either big nor small comparison to what I would have thought he was in person, but he was a cool guy. There was a lot of ESPN people out there from LA, their LA headquarters. One person we did see, I will mention later on, because he could or could not be in the arms of the NFL as well. But beyond that, so it looks like the San Diego Chargers, back to what I was talking about, the San Diego Chargers look like they're not going to probably pass their vote to have a new stadium built in San Diego. So they need to have like 2/3 of the vote. I'm not sure when the voting date is, but they've already said that basically now we're not going to probably do it. And guess what? That means there'll be 2 teams in LA. And there'll be 2 teams sharing the shitty stadium of the Coliseum until a new one gets built by 2019.
I don't know if it's going to happen. The Rams owner is trying to be the only team in LA, so I'm not sure. It's kind of up in the air right now. I think that San Diego putting it out there that they might be coming kind of threatened them a little bit in hopes that they'll try to push the opposite way and keep them there. So it's really still 50-50 if you ask me if they're going to be moving or not.
I would hope so, because I don't think LA needs any more sports teams. They've got the Clippers, the Lakers. I mean, what else do you want? I mean, it just seems ridiculous. And not to mention the traffic and the parking situation. Here's the deal. The houses that are right near this Coliseum, they are banking in. They are selling every patch of grass in front of their lawn, every nook and cranny. We actually paid, I think, $40 to park in someone's driveway, but then you get stuck behind whoever's behind you until they come out. So literally, there was these 4 little bougie chicks in like a BMW X5 who took about 30 minutes after the game ended to come to their car, which was then behind 3 other cars that was behind our car. Because here's the deal. The regular parking in LA just to get parking near the Coliseum is at least $100.
Man, next time you got to Uber. I went to a Dodgers game in Miami a couple weekends ago, and Uber was the way to go.
No, and Uber is always my form of transportation. I think getting there was fine. I was looking to Uber out of there because I was like, okay, we're stuck. I need to get back to my car so I can get back to Vegas, because this was Sunday night. I had to work Monday morning. I did not call in sick like I probably should have. However, Uber to get back was like $90. 90 for a usual probably $20. I even went to Lyft and did like the buddy like what's the option where you can share a ride, this ride share.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah. And that was, I think, instead of 90, it was like 78. I was like, I think I'll just wait for these lazy bitches to come get to their car and then we'll go. So anyways, that was my experience in LA. The beach was amazing. The weather was amazing. The food was amazing. My friends were amazing. The game was colossally not amazing. Beyond my terrible game, there was a lot of stuff going on as far as injury-wise, which I'm going to tie this into fantasy football because I know that you play fantasy football.
No, I'm not playing this season.
Not playing. Oh, okay. So, well, I'm in 3 leagues, and I'm doing crappy in all 3 of them. I'm 0-2 in all leagues. But it's really due to these injuries and the people that are getting injured. I know there was some prior injuries, like we had Gronkowski who was out. He's supposed to be coming back this week. Jamal Charles has been off and on with the knee. He's undecided as for this weekend. RG3 is going to be gone for most of the season. I think Marcus Wheaton comes back for Pittsburgh. DeMarcus Ware was out. Brandon Marshall's still off and on. He had gotten hurt last Thursday. Doug Baldwin had a knee issue. I mean, Russell Wilson had the ankle issue. Adrian Peterson, that torn meniscus. I mean, this poor guy. He thought maybe it could have been something simple. Come to find out today, he has a torn meniscus. The whole, is it a whole meniscus? I don't even know. But the entire meniscus or the entire injury has to have surgery. He's going to be out for at least 4 to 5 months.
Dang.
And this is after he's already had a year off due to some, non-favorable things that have occurred with his child, and other injuries. And, this guy isn't catching a break, and it's towards the end of his career. We're thinking, is it done? Is he going forward? I don't know.
Looks
are
like
some other
Arian
ones?
Foster is out with a groin injury.
Ugh. And Arian Foster's been off and on, hit or miss. With Miami, it's kind of hard to figure that one out. I'm hoping, because I have him on one of my teams, that he'll come back and do some good, but who knows? I mean, there's so many other ones. Who else do we have? There was Jonathan Stewart. He's gone for a little bit. Obviously, Josh McCown got injured. The big one, Danny Woodhead. That guy, he's like the little super mighty mouse of the NFL, I think. He plays for the Chargers. He actually tore his ACLs out for the season. This is a guy for fantasy football that you could count on no matter what. Put him in your flex position and play him as a running back if you're short, if there's a bye week for somebody. This guy makes plays, and now he's gone. Gone for the season. Yeah, gosh. What else do we have?
Looks like Darius Butler is out for the Colts.
Oh my God. Yeah, Jay Cutler again's having issues with his thumb. There's always been some interesting injuries. Last year there was the incision in like someone's not kidney, but they had like a laceration in their kidney or something like that. This one is, I mean, your thumb. I guess it's his throwing hand, so that makes it an issue. But some of the injuries, I'm just like, what? And it's always a hamstring or a knee. I found.
Speaking of injuries, did you see Sam Bradford's hand? It was terrible.
No!
It was terrible. Frightening. Like alien type of frightening.
What did he do to? I don't think I saw that.
Something happened in the game that just crushed his hand, and he still played and did well and won.
Right. Well, he found his new best friend, Stephon Diggs, who I have in fantasy, but I had him on my bench. There is nothing worse than having a player who has an outstanding game on your bench. And there was like 30 some points he had in one of my leagues, and he was sitting on the bench, and I lost that game. I think that game by about 12 points. So had I played him, I would have won. So the way these injuries are all interesting. It's funny how fantasy football works, because usually about Wednesday is our waiver wire. So you're putting in all your requests to make trades and or to pick up and drop players. And by Wednesday, if your transaction went through. Also, what happens is on Wednesdays is when, for some reason, that's when all the coaches want to tell you that all of your players that you think are healthy may be questionable. And you're like, wait a minute, but they're not really questionable, like not going to play Sunday, but they're like questionable, like, oh, they might have not played at full strength for practice on Wednesday. But it makes you like jump in. For me, I'm sitting at work. I've got, my ESPN alerts, my Bleacher Reports. I've got my other apps that I use for football, for fantasy. And I'm getting these alerts, and they're all telling me about things, about these players that are possibly injured now. And I'm freaking out all day today. I'm taking screenshots of all of my teams and sending them to a couple of friends. Like, what am I going to do? The consensus is that it appears all of my teams are pretty stable. It's just that none of them are performing. So that being said, fantasy football and injuries go hand in hand. And there was a huge bunch of running back injuries. I think it was last season. And this season, I think it's almost worse. There's a huge number of running back injuries, but on top of it, you've got wide receivers as well. Like Dante Moncrief. That's one of them that I've had an issue with. I don't even know these days how to handle some of these players in fantasy league. But again, I'm 0-2. All of my leagues. I'm hoping that changes. Oh yeah, Sammy Watkins was the other one too. That guy, man, some of these players. Anyway, enough of fantasy football. So, I neglected college football this past weekend because I was driving to California. I do know that my Huskies did win. Yay! They did slide a position probably because I think we were playing like Portland State, and you can't really rank too much higher when you're playing them. So we play in Arizona this weekend. We slid down the AP poll just a tad to 9th place, but we're still 9th. I mean, this Huskies team is ridiculous. I know you're not a Husky. Is there a college team that's your favor, Steph?
Well, I actually like to watch UNLV. I know they haven't been great or good really recently at all. But I do have faith in Sanchez, and I think that we're going to win the next game against the Idaho Vandals. It wasn't that great of a game last weekend against Central Michigan. They gave up 30 unanswered points, so that was a little tough. I think it's just a huge communication breakdown. They really need to communicate with each other a little bit better going forward. We're just not doing so great, but I think that we have a good season ahead of us.
Good. And here's the deal, is if the Raiders come and build this new stadium, UNLV will have a new home for Saturday home games.
True.
I mean, here's the deal. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, you would know that the UNLV's football stadium is like 15, 20 miles away from the college campus. Nowhere in history that I know of do you go to school and have a college team that plays that far from their school. It's almost unheard of. But it would be nice for those kids and the guys at UNLV to get a nice facility to play at, and I think that would be awesome to be able to do it at the Raiders Stadium. Little side note and news that happened today in the news here in Las Vegas is that the Raiders proposal for the stadium is actually going to be made into a special session with the up in, I guess it was like Congress or something. I'm not political in any means. But they'll be having a special session either sometime between October 7th and 13th where they will be able to either vote and approve the bill. They'll either make adjustments to it to approve it, or they will deny it and send it back to see if it'll get redone or not. So interesting to see how that goes. Other little tidbits we got, the WNBA, the playoffs started for them. Major League Baseball, the wild card races are in effect. I didn't realize this before, and I used to watch a lot of baseball, not most recently. My Mariners started off great this year. I was really excited about it. However, they've kind of taken a dive during the middle, but they're coming back, and they're literally, I think, 2 or 3 games out from the wild card spot. When it comes to the wild card playoffs, you literally get 1 game in the wild card playoff, and then it's like a one shot where, usually you're playing a 3 or 5 or 7 game series for baseball. You get 1 game. So I'm hoping that the Mariners can make it in there. If not, wild card playoffs do start October 4th, which is funny because they have it for the hunt for October, which always makes me think of the hunt for Red October.
Right.
And then World Series time will be, I think it's the end of October, if not in November. I can't really think of anything else that I had to discuss. What about you, Steph?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah. We really appreciate you guys listening. I'm glad Steph came again. She will be contributing a lot. She's already done a lot for us on our Twitter, on our Facebook, as well as Instagram. It's at GirlChatSports. Find us there. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, at Seattle, 4_life. And Steph?
Mine is at S_wash, and I'm on all the social media as well.
Wonderful. So without further ado, we'll end this wonderful episode 23 by giving you the arms of the NFL, #arms of the NFL. And like you may know already, you will see the pictures. I make little collages for each one that I put on Instagram just following our show. This week, go ahead with the first one. Oh, I'll give you the second one. That's your guy.
All right.
So, first off, we've got Amari Cooper, who's a wide receiver for Oakland. Now, usually wide receivers don't have that great of arms, but let me tell you, Amari and his arms are welcome here anytime. Okay.
Number 2, we have Ezekiel Elliott. That's my boy, running back for Dallas.
So not only does he have abs, like we saw during the draft,
right,
but he also has great arms, and he's got some nice lips. But I'll leave that alone for right now. And our little TBT throwback would be Maurice Jones-Drew, who we actually saw at the ESPN tailgate. I didn't know who it was. I thought Maurice Jones-Drew, I knew he was small. I didn't know he was that small. I mean, as far as height-wise. He's 5'7". I think he might have even gained another 20 pounds. So we're putting him at like a 215, 230. The guy is a big, short, stocky boy. Anyways, he also has some great arms. I could see them through his shirt. Anyways, that would be our Arms of the NFL for today, guys. Again, big shout out to the guys at the Zone Network, to all the guys in the network from Seattle, from New England, from Philly, and of course, St. Louis. Thanks to my girl Steph for joining us. She'll hopefully be around a lot more. Thank you to you guys for listening. Please like, share, and spread the joy of Girl Chat Sports. Any last words, Steph?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Thanks for checking out another great episode of Girl Chat Sports. And remember, we don't have balls, but we know how to cover them. Until next time, guys.